Survival horror fans have been enjoying a renaissance lately, especially with indie titles like Conscript and Crow Country, which skillfully blend classic elements of the genre with modern appeal. Now another title joins the fray under the name of Hollowbody, developed by Headwear Games, that is a short survival horror story set in a tech-noir world that offers a haunting exploration of a quarantined British city filled with grotesque creatures and other monsters. If you're currently waiting for the Silent Hill 2 remake, Hollowbody might just be the thing to keep you occupied. The game is set in England in the not too distant future, following a viral attack that devastates the economically struggling area. The wealthy manage to escape to a safe zone while the rest are left behind, walled off in a quarantine zone. You begin the game as Sasha, a member of a cleanup crew who goes missing after looking for one of her teammates who has also gone missing in the local area of a small beach located outside of the quarantine area. The perspective then shifts to her friend Mika a few days later, who ventures into the quarantine zone to find her. Things quickly go south when Mika's futuristic hover car crashes after being caught in a bad storm, leaving her stranded in the dangerous city. Now you must not only find Sasha but also escape, all while evading terrifying deformed creatures, while trying to uncover the reasons behind what caused these catastrophic events. Fans of Silent Hill will feel right at home here. The narrative echoes the series' trademark themes, venturing into hostile, mysterious environments in search of a loved one. Many of the game's locations, like dilapidated apartments, sewers and subway stations, are reminiscent of Silent Hill's eerie settings. The monochrome, gritty visuals give the game a PS2 era aesthetic, enhancing the horror with modern edge. Organic growth spread throughout the environment, and the corpses of the city's former inhabitants paint a grim picture with their tragic ends often detailed as you explore. Where Hollowbody excels is in its ability on creating a disturbing atmosphere rather than relying on jump scares. There's a massive emphasis on unsettling imagery, like a room filled with sheet-covered corpses that linger in your mind long after you've left the area, which also plays a key element into the environmental storytelling, as radio signals and remnants of the past provide clues about the events leading up to the city's downfall. And in one particular notable moment, when you are presented with a choice narrative to prevent a man from jumping off a building. So depending on your choices, he can become your companion for the rest of the game that will also influence the story's outcome. And surprisingly, this character is competent, avoiding the usual pitfalls of escort missions in horror games. The gameplay sticks closely to the classic survival horror formula, where you'll use a mix of fixed camera angles and over-the-shoulder viewpoints with tank controls as an option. After your first playthrough, a first-person mode also unlocks, which works surprisingly well, enveloping players even further into the unsettling atmospheric environments that have the ability to provide tension-inducing elements that don't look out of place if we compare it to games like Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, PT, or even any of the games in the Amnesia series. Ammo and healing items are scarce, and health is managed using a simple find, caution, danger system similar to fans of the Resident Evil games. The combat, although while basic, works well enough for the game's purposes. You will have limited weapon options such as a revolver and a shotgun, and some melee weapons from a spiked pole and a street sign, even a guitar. There's also a bow and arrow that's surprisingly effective and can deal good damage to enemies. But while speaking of the enemy monsters, they too can often take multiple hits to defeat, bringing back the classic survival horror dilemma of whether to conserve resources or run or eliminate threats, adding more tension as ammo and health depletes. Unfortunately, the melee combat is clunky and most enemies are slow moving, making them easy to avoid, but at the same time can still hit you. The game's dogs, however, are a notable exception, as they can leap out unexpectedly and deal heavy damage, making them particularly annoying to deal with. While Hollowbody gets a lot right, it does fall short regarding its lack of puzzles, which there are only a few, and none are particularly challenging. The game could have benefited from more brain teasers to break up the combat and exploration, especially considering how central puzzles are to the survival horror experience. That said, the game's linear progression ensures that you're never stuck for long, but the lack of proper puzzles might be disappointing for some, but it keeps the pace moving at a steady rate. A single playthrough of Hollowbody will usually take about 4 to 5 hours, but there's some replayability thanks to the new Game Plus mode and unlockable content. On a second playthrough, you can experience the game's hardest difficulty, which introduces the mechanic of burning corpses to prevent enemies from reanimating, a concept similarly seen with the Crimson Head zombies from the original Resident Evil remake. This also adds an element of strategy, with ammo and resources being as scarce as they are, and with enemies being overall tougher here, you don't want to waste them needlessly. Despite the overall polished and uniquely unsettling experience, a few issues do stand out, with inconsistent sound, mixing dialogue sometimes drowned out by the the music, making subtitles essential. But since the game's launch, the developer has been actively fixing these issues with update patches. Some puzzles also appear, funnily enough, to have no solutions at all, which leads to totally disorientating the player, which can be frustrating if you don't realise that it's by design. Additionally, some of the game's strategies become immediately apparent upon entering different areas. Considering that Hollowbody was developed primarily by one person, it's impressive how well the game holds up, especially when we see nowadays with AAA companies mainly failing with these attempts, even though they have bigger budgets, but they don't capture that same element that this game does. And while it doesn't reinvent the genre, it does serve as a love letter to survival horror classics, particularly Silent Hill and Resident Evil. And for those reasons alone, Hollowbody is worth checking out if you're looking for a brief but atmospheric horror experience. It might not keep you entertained for dozens of hours, but it delivers a solid, well-crafted experience that fans of the genre will appreciate. So if you are a fan of survival horror, you need to give Hollowbody a try. You might just find that it scratches that itch while we wait for the next big release. But yet there are still more interesting classic style horror games that are being developed by small dev teams that offer the nostalgic elements we crave so much. And this next video will look at more of these games if you want to experience more unsettling horror themes.